She knew not how it had happened, how the lady she had so dutifully served for many years had come to lying on the floor of her chamber, her life's blood spreading across the cold marble. Whatever it was inside of her that made her this way, she thought she had a hold of it. She was wrong. There was nothing that could be done about it now. She must look to her own safety. It was an accident, but surely no one would believe her. She must act quickly. Soon enough the guards would find the shattered body, and the lady-in-waiting would be named Assassin. She fled from the manse, borrowed a horse from the lady's stable, and escaped the city. Her life as a lady-in-waiting was over. There was only one that could help her now. Only one that could channel the will of the lady. Only one that could help her control the arcane energies that she herself had for so long tried, yet ultimately failed to tame. Just north of the town, a lone figure marched through the Bretonnian countryside. A knight, a scion of the noble house of Musilon, shunned by his bloodline for his rejection of their tainted gift, shunned by the wider nobility for his abhorrent lineage. All he had in this world he carried upon his back, eking out a living as a mercenary knight for hire. Though he had done all he could to forge his own path in life and cleanse himself of his family's degeneracy, those he would call family were not so quick to forget his perceived betrayal. The land was quick becoming a land of fugitives. On the road south, fate dictated that two strangers would cross paths. Pleasantries were exchanged, but the truth of their stories kept secret. The open country was a dangerous place. It would be safer if they were to travel together. The Fey Enchantress beckoned the weary travellers home, to a life they were destined to fulfill. Redemption was close at hand. second great quest had begun. The armies of the Lady marched through the eastern Iranas, intent on rooting out the occupying elves of Athel Loren. As they pushed east, their path crossed with that of Orion, the Elven King himself. The cavalry dashed forward, wrapping behind the enemy line and cutting down as many of the numerous elven bows as they could, whilst the Fey Enchantress hurried to catch up with her own forces. Pierre the Pauper and Jarl Bridenheim held the line, and from the west, the Fey moved on to the battlefield.
These lands! Die, Bretonnian!
The mounted knights had cut down many elven archers, but they had scarcely made a dent in their numbers. If the elven infantry could keep the Bretonnians pinned down, the bows would be free to decimate the Lady's ranks with arrow fire. A crushing blow for the Bretonnians, as the Fey Enchantress, the conduit of the Lady, had been brought down. It would take more than an elven spear to destroy this divine embodiment of the Lady's love, but for now the soldiers of Bretonnia would have to push on without her guidance. Despite their great loss, the men had managed to slip behind the elven lines and bore down on the archers.
Sigmar demands blood! Blood these eyes! Fight! Kill! Our lives depend on it! Against them! Our lives depend on it!
Orion threw himself into the fight. The penitent arrows took up position and peppered the Elven King with missile fire. Bringing low such a great adversary of the Lady, would be a great leap forward in cleansing themselves of their past crime.
Death to the enemy! The forest will consume you! Deep wood! For the horns of Kurnos! Death will be a blessing! Is Luon worth dying for? Flood these lands! The lady demands blood!
The deed was done, and the Elven King lay slain in the snow. The Fey Enchantress was carried from the field, and her wounds tended to, whilst the armies of Bretonnia continued their eastward march.
Fight!
The second great quest of the lady had come to the great elation of Tancred de Quenelles, who had seen his homelands fall to the ambitious expansionism of Athel Loren. A fresh army was assembled, featuring many mounted knights and several units of fusiliers that had proved so invaluable in the first great quest. A brainwave of Jarl Bridenheim, the Imperial was surely a strange figure, as are all men of his country, but the effectiveness of some innovations could not be ignored. The Duke of Quenelles made first for Langellaire and secured the town from the elves.
Attack!
He then turned his attention to the lands of Quenelles. As he marched north, a large elven host was spotted in the distance. Tancred readied his men and advanced.
If the lady wills it. For the lady!
The knights moved down the flanks, their goal to wrap around the elven line and slam into the elven bows. The elven ranks melted away under the relentless charge of the Bretonnian knights. The infantry that survived the charge moved forward, into the range of the awaiting fusiliers. The Fae was carried away to rest and recover from her wounds. In her absence, she named Amelia Chouette, her new pupil, to take command of the army. Many were unsure of why the Fae would put such trust into this fledgling prophetess, Amelia among them, but none dared to be as insubordinate as to make their doubts known. Amelia did as requested and took up the mantle of command. The march to Athelloren continued.
Do you know who I am?
Pierre moved ahead, mopping up what remained of Orion's forces.
The lady protects me.
The next target was the fortress of Stormwrath Peak. The fortress soon fell. The Bretonnian forces were almost clear of the mountains. The elves struck back in force, first marching on Turin and laying waste to the town, the small garrison powerless to hold back the onslaught. Salignac de Rouge was next. The small town on the border of Athelloren came under assault from a much smaller force. The garrison there was better suited to defending their homes, and the invasion successfully turned away. Then came Summersfall Fort, the largest fortress in the region. The enormous elven host descended upon the fort in vast numbers and easily secured the walls.
Very well, if you insist.
A frustrated Tancred was forced to call off his pursuit of the elves into Quenelles, and was made to turn south to deal with the invaders. The lands of Paravon to the north of Athelloren submitted to the will of the Fae Enchantress, and offered their lands, soldiers, and resource in their entirety to the fulfillment of the Great Quest.
Wipe them out!
The pressure was on. The bulk of the Bretonnian forces were still preoccupied in the Irana mountains. They must act quickly, push through the elven defences, and move back into Bretonnian lands. But first they must besiege and conquer the Foul Peak.
Send the peasants forward, so they may know the horrors we protect.
The legendary Green Knight had emerged in this hour of need, and lent his aid to the soldiers of the Great Quest. Using his fabled powers to phase through trees, the Green Knight charged head-on into the foe.
Your king is powerless! We do not forgive!
Let's have ya! The forest shall prevail! Slaughter
The knights moved in front, sending the elven defences into disarray, providing the opportunity for the infantry to move forward.
fighters, royal companions!
Over!
They're charging!
Enemy charge!
The elves had erected large barricades in strategic positions, funneling the Bretonnians and preventing them from being able to move their forces around freely. The Fusiliers soon brought down the barricades and moved into flanking positions, harassing the enemy with devastating missile fire.
Come on, lads! Get stuck in! Let's have 'em!
Fight! Kill! Our lives depend on it!
Under the crushing weight of lance and shot, the elven defences melted away and fled. The exiled son of Musilon, Raelul, was given command of a small force and tasked with marching on Parash. The Bretonnians needed to strike where they could and distract the invading elven forces, whilst the armies to the south hurried to march north.
For Bretonnia!
Raelulf arrived at the town and encountered a similarly matched force. It was a close battle, but ultimately the day ended with the Bretonnian banner flying above the town. Tancred continued his march south and was now within striking distance of Summersfall Fort. The elven forces still garrisoned the fort, guaranteeing the battle would not be easy. Tancred was undeterred and pressed on. His hatred of the Wood Elves ran deep, and he would not decline the opportunity to shed elven blood wherever it presented itself.
Death to the enemy!
Tancred slew the elven spellweaver, and the army waited in anticipation for the bulk of the elven host to arrive on the field. The Bretonnians had learned quickly how to deal with the armies of Athelloren and their over-reliance on archer units. Tancred had assembled his forces to include large numbers of cavalry for this very reason. The cavalry charged down the flanks and ploughed into the enemy line.
Snuff them out!
We fight as Grail companions!
The elven bows scattered across the field, desperate to avoid the receiving end of a Bretonnian lance. The knights eagerly pursued them.
We charge it!
In the after.
The Wood Elves had been decimated, their infantry shattered against Fusilier fire and Bretonnian steel, the archers pursued and cut down by the mounted knights. Those that remained attempted to flee, with the knights snapping at their heels. Summersfall Fort had been reclaimed, and the questing knights to the south now free to emerge from the mountains and take the fight to Athelloren itself.
My lady calls.
My reputation precedes me.
The elves of Torgavon were soon brought to regret their invasion of Bretonnian lands, and offered reparations in exchange for peace. For the soldiers of Bretonnia, theirs was a holy war, divinely prescribed, and no amount of gold or treasure would stay their blades. Tancred de Quenelles could now resume the liberation of his homeland. He moved north, stopping at the river just south of Castle Quenelles, his ancestral seat of power tantalizingly close, just across the river.
If the lady wills it.
Pierre hurried north and moved towards Salinac de Rouge. The town was of strategic importance and would act as a base of operations from which the Bretonnians could pursue their conquest of Athelloren.
We have met before.
Emilia Chouette moved south towards Chateau Levar, the final elven refuge south of Athelloren.
For Our Lady.
For the Lady Ariel! us as rich as if we stay and fight. Come then, scum! I have unberoggen blood in my veins!
Amelia Chouette had covered herself in glory in the Fae's stead, and won the admiration of noble and commoner alike. The Fae Enchantress had recovered from her wounds, and once again took command of the army. Amelia was relieved of her duties for now, and dispatched from the army, but her role in this war was not yet over. She would return shortly. The Fae marched the army north. The realm of Athelloren was quickly becoming surrounded by Bretonnian forces, imbued with divine fervour. His time had come. Tancred could scarcely cover his glee as he marched forward on Castle Quenelles. The elven king, Orion, had taken up refuge in the castle as he attempted to rebuild his forces and take the fight back to Bretonnian lands. For Tancred, he could not ask for more than the opportunity to personally deliver defeat to the king that had usurped his lands.
Honor and glory!
Quenelles had been liberated, the promise from the Fae that Tancred would see his homeland restored fulfilled. There was now nothing in the way between the Bretonnian armies and the elven haven of Athelloren. Pierre and the Fae Enchantress assembled at Salinac de Rouge. They would strike from the south, pushing into the mystical forest. Tancred would move in from the west and move on Vol's anvil. The multiple armies would then assemble and move north en masse and wipe away this stain on the land. In the north, Réolulf de Mousillon had assembled yet another force. His first move would be to head north and seize the fortress of Helmgart, before turning back and pushing into Athelloren from the north.
Slay them!
The hammer fell, and the armies of Bretonnia marched to holy war. Their first target, the halls of Equos. The warriors of the Lady would find no easy quarry here. They pressed forward and crushed their elven opponents, securing a foothold in the forest. Tancred moved toward Vol's anvil.
Yes?
His scouts then
Very well,
reported that the
if you
settlement
insist.
was home to a large garrison, giving
I will
Tancred pause for
indulge you.
thought. He would not risk his men's lives needlessly, nor would he abandon his pursuit of the Wood Elves in their own lands. He instead continued east, pushing deeper into the forest, the Oak of Ages in his sight. Orion could feel the pressure bearing down on him, and he too offered reparations in exchange for peace. Like the offers made before, This was rejected, and the war continued. As Tancred pushed through the dark thickets of Athelloren, his forces came under attack.
Bring it down! Chivalrous brutes!
Fight! Fight for our liege!
No, sir!
Bretonnia once again emerged victorious and pursued the fleeing elven forces deeper into the forest.
Fight! Kill! Our lives depend on it!
Thank you for watching. I'm glad we're finally getting into the swing of this campaign. We got off to a bit of a slow start, but things are finally picking up. I've now got all the characters established, and we're going to see a bit more interactions between them going forward. I did want to get this video up on Monday, but I mentioned at the end of the final Dreams of Empire video how I suffered an injury at work a few months ago, and I'm still dealing with a lot of pain from that, so sitting in a desk chair for hours at a time can be deeply uncomfortable. I usually can power through, but it's been particularly bad lately, so I've not been able to get as much work done as I'd like. I'm still working with the target of getting 2 videos out a week, but that might not always be possible. So I put a poll up a few days ago asking for people to vote on preferred factions, and at this point a clear winner has emerged. I'm not sure if the poll's still open, but I invite you to go and vote if it is. So I expect we'll be approaching the end of this campaign sometime in early June, at which point I will start uploading for the new campaign. I asked a while ago if anyone would like to see a historical campaign at some point. Most people said they would, but there were a few people that only want Warhammer campaigns. So I've decided what I'm going to do is continue my focus on the Warhammer campaigns, and when I have free time I'm going to chip away at a historical campaign, which I have already started. Once that campaign is recorded and edited in full, so literally everything's done and all I have to do is upload, I will then periodically upload that series along with whatever Warhammer campaign I'm running at the time. I'm also going to be going to Warhammer World on the 15th of May to see the Old World exhibition, so expect a video shortly about that. So that's all for now. Thank you for watching.